Yeah, I used to roll backwoods, Rick the Dawn's good wherever he goes. 1 million and one flows, depositing dough. Said you down with the mafia family, let me know. Yeah, number one, I don't do number two. They watching how I do, because I'm really hood. Red hoodie, gold jewelry, too groovy, might lose me. Don't approach with the foolery, keep the two on me, homie. You don't know me, Rick the Dawn, the one and only. Yeah.
Yo, welcome to the Really Hood Podcast. I'm your host, Rick the Dawn, and today we will be talking about the Anthem. But before we do, I would like to let you know that this episode was brought to you by reallyhood.com, a place for independent artists to showcase their talent. Go check it out. Now, some news just came through the pipeline about the NFL playing the Black National Anthem before games. Now, the irony of this particular topic is that I was going to do a video or a podcast about this a long time ago, probably sometime in February. Actually, probably last November, I wanted to touch on this particular topic. But hey, the NFL news beat me to the punch. So it has made me kind of rush a little bit and get this topic out. But I'll address this situation as if it were prior to the news coming out. My point was, if people are so up in arms about African American athletes, we're talking about the NFL in this case, if they're so up in arms about the anthem and people kneeling and things of that nature, then play the Black National Anthem, something that they can be proud of. That was what I was going to say. That was my sentiment. However, the NFL has one-upped me, and they've already thought about that. I'm assuming that somebody in their circle said, hey, they said the exact same thing I just said. Hey, let's try the national anthem, the Black National Anthem, and maybe this will fix some of the problems that we have. So I will credit the NFL with trying to keep public relations steady. All right, because as a big conglomerate or a big company like the NFL, that is your number one thing. Keep consumers and most importantly, keep your athletes happy. Because I was called in on I think his name is Peter Gottlieb or something like that. Some dude on Sirius XM. I once called in and said, hey, NFL players, black NFL players should boycott the NFL, take their huge salaries, their $1 million salaries, and create their own league. Why is that not even a possibility? And you know what Peter Gottlieb or whatever his name is, you know what he said? They can't do that. White guy, right? And no disrespect, but he is a white guy. That's a fact. And I said, wait a minute. How many NFL players are there in the NFL black? Let's just use a random number. Let's say 200. You got 200 black males all making somewhere in the range of $1 million. So that's $200 million. How much does it cost to start an NFL league? What if they all took their money, pooled it together, and created their own league? Since this particular league is not respecting, the other side of the coin. Fine. Take your money elsewhere. Peter Gottlieb said they can't do that. And it was a very rushed response. And to me, that response said, oh, crap. Somebody is onto it. Somebody understands the power that these black athletes have. If the NFL lost, let's say 80% of its black athletes, I don't know if the revenue drops, but I will say the viewership definitely drops because I don't think it would be the same entertaining sport. And it's not to say that if all NFL players, black NFL players, were to go create their own league, it would be a success overnight. In fact, I would argue it would probably take about 10 years before it actually hit its stride if it had the right people behind it. The point being, I was ready for mass departureship. Hey, if they're not going to respect our views, then let's move. Now, let's talk about something that's very important that I don't think gets enough discussion. What is the national anthem? You ask the right person, they'll tell you that the national anthem is a song that's about patronage and the American way. And to that, I say that's a load of crap. And that's without disrespect, of course. because I do actually love where I'm from. I do love America. I love this place. In fact, I just love the earth in general. I don't really care about the sections so much. But I'll say this. There's a problem with that, because you know who wrote the Star Spangled Banner? Francis Scott Key. Now, to many people, Francis Scott Key is a historic figure who's done great things. And who am I to say any different? But we must acknowledge something that is not being discussed. Francis Scott Key, the man who wrote the Star Spangled Banner, owned slaves that were my skin color. They want those same athletes to stand proud with their hand over their heart and say, we agree with this. We like this. The land of the free. Do y'all think we stupid? Because you have to think we're stupid. You have to think we're dumb. It's actually very offensive. You want me to stand with my hand on my heart and recite some lyrics that some man who owned slaves that were my skin color, you want me to recite those lyrics? That's idiotic. That's idiotic, America. That's stupid. I don't know if that's stupid or dumb. I can't figure it out. So you got Americans who say, you're not an American if you don't stand and put your hand on your heart while the lyrics of a slave owner get dispersed throughout an entire stadium. Man, I don't even think, after I learned that, and I learned that some time ago, I had to rehearse it and make sure it was accurate. But after I heard that he was a slave owner, I just almost went out and just say, look, from now on, I'm not even, look, when that song comes on, not only am I not standing, I'm going to ignore it, because that has nothing to do with patriotism. It just doesn't. It's a song. It's a song. That's what it is. And that's the problem. A lot of fake patriots have gone very far with this whole anthem thing. Okay, because they're really fake patriots. If you have a problem with somebody exhibiting their own American rights, if this is the land of the free, then how is it possible that you're upset with somebody or how is it possible for you to be upset with somebody that's exercising their freedom? How does that make sense to, wait, this is the land of the free. We agree on that? Okay, good. When athletes or anybody decides to sit down or do anything that they want during the Star Spangled Banner or the national anthem, are they or are they not exercising their freedom of choice? They are? Okay, good. So how is it that people are upset with an athlete of any color doing anything that they want to do during the national anthem? And this is the problem. I don't want to be disrespectful, because that is absolutely not what I'm here to do. But I have to call a spade a spade. That's fake patriotism. Because if you're really for the American way and you're actually for Americans, then how can you be upset when an American does what, soldiers fought for? Soldiers fought for our freedom to do what we wanted to do. Am I right? So if an athlete wants to sit down, kneel, go to sleep, do whatever he wants to do during the national anthem singing, shouldn't they be able to do that? Now, I'm not going to even ask the question. I'm going to say it. They should be able to do that without any problems. And then you got a guy that is the commander in chief. And I don't want to touch on his presidency, because I don't want to, be rude or anything like that. Because I actually do admire Mr. Trump or President Trump. But obviously, this part right here is where I just can't rock with him on it. Because you can't call a person a fake patriot because they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is exerting and actually exemplifying their freedom of speech. So let's just call it what it is. BS. It's BS. Francis Scott Key was a slave owner. There is no way in the world that I'm going to stand up and put my hand on my heart for a man who oppressed my ancestors. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. Because if the shoe was on the other foot and black people owned white slaves and did who knows what to them, and then some black person like Rick the Don wrote a song like, hey, you got to sing this before every song, before every game. Knowing the white people that I know, they cutthroat. White people cutthroat. They don't play that stuff, man. And they would be like, yo, I'm gonna not only would they not stand for a black anthem about, or by a guy who had white slaves, not only would they not stand during the singing of that person's music, they would probably storm the stadium. Like, come on. It can't be a double standard. It's either you with it or you not with it. Okay? You either with it or you not with it. Can we please acknowledge something that has been sorely forgotten? There were not just white men in those wars. There were not just white men in those wars. So can we please stop that narrative? There were black people on those lines as well. In many cases, those black people were on the front lines, fighting for a country that didn't or wouldn't fight for them. So I can't even understand why it took this long for the black national anthem to get its due. So shout out to the NFL, while at the same time I'm criticizing the country, man. That should have been happened. Why isn't this happening across the board? Okay, because that's what should be happening. If we're going to criticize black men for kneeling during the anthem, we have to criticize these companies. The NFL, for example. Not now, but I'm saying before. Play the black national anthem. Let's see how many white patrons stand up. And if they sit down, is that not disrespectful? Of course it is. Right? And I'm going to say it this way. Not really. You know why? Because we're in America, where you can do what you want to do. That's the whole point of America. You're free to do what you want to do, to express your views the way you want to express them. And when we start to condemn athletes or anybody for doing that exact thing that our soldiers fought for, then we're no longer Americans. We're something else. So that's what it is, man. I'm so tired of this, man. I'm so tired of this whole anthem debate. I'm over it. Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job. And that is the exact same reason why I didn't watch a game of the NFL last year. And I'm going to continue not to watch it. Because in 20 years, he's going to be a hero. And they're going to say how great of a sacrifice he made. Now, from my understanding, Colin Kaepernick has done some weird things like, not show up or have his press conferences. Who knows what? I don't know. But I will say this. They can get him a job if they wanted to. Okay? Despite or regardless of what he said. There's guys who've done a lot worse in the NFL and they still have a job to this day. Okay? So I don't want to hear that, man. Things are getting a little hot. I'm sweating. Look, when I start sweating, I ain't this ain't pretend, man. Actually, I got a little cold, but let's take a minute so I can cool down and let's check out this track by Rick the Don. You know what it is, man. Rick the Don. Check it out.
Well done, Mr. KKK, cause it seems like we're killing ourselves today. Can you believe leaders, they die for this? MLK, JFK died for this. How we were paid, twerking, gun squirting, jewels hurting, not working. You should see the kids in the class, care less if they pass. Pants off they looking like a rainbow, rubber bands. I don't understand when the rainbow is God's creation. Like, man, they act like I care, I'm not famous. You'd be disgusted. Today's stars are a little brainless. Quick to kill each other, but won't kill for each other. Why kill for each other when we can love each other? Treat our women like trash, like they're not someone's mother. Watch them point and blame me like I'm the freaking problem church. Don't cry, we can rise together. Even though we're not perfect, we can try together. I'm talking never giving up, we can try forever. Jesus, here's my cross, we can ride together. Don't cry, we can rise together.
All right, let's start bringing this topic in because I'm all over the place. Let's bring it in. Let's hit my main points. The NFL is now either thinking about it or they've already made the decision to play the Black National Anthem before games. Great job, NFL. Thank you. We have to stop the narrative that athletes who exhibit their American rights to kneel or do anything they want to do during the anthem, we have to stop the narrative that they're doing something wrong, because that is the greatest lie ever. We have to stop fake patronage or patriotism, where you got these people saying that they're more American than the next person because they're standing during a song that was written by a slave owner. Francis Scott Key, the man who wrote the Star Spangled Banner, God bless his soul, owned slaves. I'm not condemning him for that because he's a product of his time, his era. That was his era. If I was a white man in that era, I would have slaves. It is what it is. It just is what it is. But at the same time, do not expect a black man or a black athlete to be like, all right, Jolly Willikers, let's go ahead. I want to sing this. don't expect us to be happy to sing this song. In fact, it's very disrespectful for us to even have to sing it at all or stand up during it. If anything, we should be able to sit down if we want to because the writer owned slaves. Man, sometimes when I be thinking about stuff, I don't know if the Lord made me super, super intelligent and made everybody else just like, or is everybody just ignorant to, I don't know, man. I just wonder sometimes, why is it taking so long for stuff like this to be said? That is why I made this podcast, because I'm like, there's a lot of things not being said. And unfortunately, they're going to put my video in the basement of YouTube or the basement of the podcast community. But this should be at the top because it's the realest thing. I'm not here trying to make a joke. I'm serious. I'm trying to make a statement that I think should have been said a long time ago. Why are black athletes being taunted, disrespected for not singing a song written by a slave owner? This is math. This is like math. Everything is math. Common sense, right? Common sense plus common sense equals common sense. That's just common sense to me. We shouldn't even be like, it should be like, hey, we understand. Now that we have this black national anthem out here, let's see what happens. Let's see all these patriots, right? Let's see how quickly they turn their tune or change their tune. And they start to sit down doing the black national anthem. And we call that hypocrisy. We call that a double standard. When you sit down during the black national anthem, that's hypocrisy. That's a double standard. You want to know why? Because white American men and women were not the only people that fought in those wars. They were not. That's a fact. There were black people in those wars too. Don't they deserve some type of honor? Don't they deserve it? No? Okay. So America got some problems, man. And really, it's their own problems because people like myself don't have these issues because I know how to use common sense. That doesn't make sense, man. We can't get mad at somebody for not standing up during an anthem written by a slave owner or somebody who oppressed their people. That's stupidity, man. Okay? So my final word is this. We all need to grow up. We all need to grow up. Everybody. Me, my kind, they kind, got to grow up. Who can? If we live in America and we're supposed to be free, we can do what we want to do. That's the whole point. As long as it's within the legal limits of the law, right? Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's getting hurt, And then, when you have a group of individuals who storm a Capitol and actually kill folks, that gets whitewashed and just thrown under the rug. Come on, man. You know what's great about this whole thing? You know what makes me happy at the end of the day? I believe that there's a God. And I believe that very God is not a human being. And he will see things very, very fairly. And when those things get to him, because they will, I believe everything is going to be, I believe at some point, every single person will have to face him. That's just my belief. And the good thing about it is he's not going to have any prejudice. I think he's going to look at everything very fairly. And all this crap that's being whitewashed by the majority or imbalanced by the majority, whether it be somebody shooting somebody that's supposed to protect and serve, whatever the case might be, when it gets to him, that's when all the BS is going to have to stop because there will be no more wiggling out of the truth. It's going to be, it is what it is. I can't wait to that day. I can't wait. Actually, I can't wait because it's going to be a rough day for some people because you're going to have to answer for all the crap that you've been doing. That's what I'm talking about, man. Keep it real. Keep it 100 because at some point you're going to get called on it. At some point, it is what it is. That's just my take on it. Take it or leave it.